Welcome to The Real World. My name is Cameron, joined by Carson.
Hey.
And we are here in episode 82 of The Real World podcast, talking about Madam Web and all the superheroes who need their own movies. Thank you for joining us here on The Real World podcast. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. We're inching closer to 500
it's right around the corner.
Subscribers. We are ecstatic. Thank you so much. Make sure you share this on social media. All of our social media links are in the description below. We're both on Letterboxd. You can follow us there. But today, we're going to get things started, as we usually do, with some movie news. All right, so let's look at some of this movie news that dropped. Super Bowl trailers.
That's right.
Super Bowl was last week.
Yep.
So we got to talk about some of these trailers. Deadpool and Wolverine was the big one everyone's talking about.
Yes.
It was the most viewed trailer in 24 hours of all time.
That's right. That's right.
Which is shocking.
It was very highly anticipated trailer. Highly disappointing trailer.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Deadpool fan, so I wasn't really looking forward to it necessarily.
I've personally never seen any of the Deadpool movies at all.
Right.
I'm not a huge Ryan Reynolds fan in general,
Right.
and I think my biggest problem with this is it seemed just like another Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah, and it also didn't deliver on the title, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
It's like, where's Hugh Jackman? Like, we barely see the back of his head.
I know.
I mean, I was like, come on, give us a line of dialogue, something.
I wanted to see the full face mask, the suit, the claws.
I mean, got nothing.
Nothing.
So it was, I guess, more of a teaser. It's the first trailer, so
Sure.
maybe they'll get better. I was kind of looking forward to this because he's coming back and because this is going to be a multiverse story where we're going to get all these X-Men.
Right.
Or we're going to get, see everything going on here.
We got Pyro.
Pyro,
Which was nice.
Quick glimpse of Pyro.
It was nice to see
fun.
Pyro with his goggles.
Glad to see him back. But yeah, so wasn't that impressed with that one. We had Wicked debuted its trailer.
Okay.
Which is the Wizard of Oz kind of,
The musical.
backstory. Yeah, it's a Broadway show.
Right.
They're turning into a movie. It's going to be a 2-part film.
Okay.
It's got Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande.
That's right.
It looks like they're going Maleficent, which I'm not a fan of Maleficent.
I know you're not. Whenever they do that thing where they try to make the villain super sympathetic,
Right.
it often kind of is counterintuitive and makes it actually less interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've heard good things. I've never personally seen the show before.
I haven't either.
So we'll see. We'll see how it is.
We'll see. Twisters.
That's right.
The sequel to Twister.
The Twisters Legacy sequel.
This is like Aliens, Predators.
Right.
Now we have Twisters.
That's right. Hopefully it's in the same vein as like a Top Gun Maverick, where it's like a throwback to 80s.
Like a legacy sequel.
Right.
The original is a great movie. I own it on Blu-ray.
Of course.
It's one of my favorites. Great disaster movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks promising. I mean,
Sure.
it looks like another great disaster movie. So we'll see. Hopefully. Then we have If. Back to Ryan Reynolds.
Man.
If.
As hard as I try, I just can't get into this.
Little iffy on it, huh?
A little iffy on it. It gives me some like bedtime stories vibes a little bit. It gives me a little.
See, I like the concept.
The concept's
I think
fine.
the concept is cool.
I just can't see them executing it properly.
I don't know. I like John Krasinski. I know you're not a huge Quiet Place fan. I like his Quiet Place movies. I think he's a really talented director, has some cool ideas,
Yeah.
has a great visual style. I mean, the Quiet Place movies, they're very visual films.
That's true.
And this could be, if they stick to that cool visual element, it's gonna. I think it looks kind of fun because it's got these CG characters interacting with humans.
I don't know.
And it's like they're all different because they're all different kids' imaginations come to life.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of potential here, is what I'm saying. So I'm kind of looking forward to that one.
I'm not.
And then speaking of Krasinski, although he's not coming back to direct, Quiet Place, Day One.
That's right.
Prequel.
This I am excited for.
This looks interesting.
This is what every father wants to see, especially our dad wants to see in a post-apocalyptic movie. What happened day one?
How did it happen?
We want to see the chaos in the city.
Aliens invade.
We want to see the invasion. We want
Destruction.
We want War of the Worlds.
Absolutely.
We want,
Yes.
I Am Legend.
Yes. Absolutely.
28 days later, even.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this kind of has that energy, I think, and I'm looking forward to it. It looks like the protagonist is probably deaf. Is that what they're going
tell.
for?
I don't think so. I think because they already did that. I don't think they're going to do that again.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell. Deaf or mute or something.
Maybe.
Because they're, I mean, obviously the motif is sound, but they're playing with sound a lot in the trailer.
Right.
Her reactions to things seem different than everyone else's.
Maybe, yeah.
So it seems like there's something there. But I'm excited to see it.
Djimon Hounsou's coming back. It was in part 2, so
That's
we're going
right.
to see his backstory,
Yep.
which is neat. Joseph Quinn's in there. Lupita Nyong'o, who you were referring to. So, yeah, good cast, great idea. And so definitely looking forward to that. And then last but not least, my favorite trailer of the whole bunch was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That's right.
I'm a huge Apes fan. This is the year of the ape. I mean, we got this, and then we got Kong.
Kong versus Kong x Godzilla equals
the New Empire.
New Empire, Kingdom of...
It's all about... Both these movies are about...
Kingdom of Kaijus.
About apes becoming king.
Exactly.
Royal apes. Turning evil.
Royal apes.
Yes. So I'm glad that the apes are back on top.
What a silly idea. Although the Planet of the Apes movies are very serious.
They're intense.
They take themselves super seriously. Personally, I think the second of the new Planet of the Apes movies is still my favorite.
Oh, Dawn. Okay.
I think Dawn is...
I like War better, but...
Really good. I love Dawn. I love Dawn.
Matt
Reeves directed all three of those, of course. Yeah. He's not directing this, is he?
No. Yeah. They got Wes Ball to do this, who I'm a big fan of. He did the Maze Runner trilogy.
Oh, okay.
He did all three Maze Runner movies.
Yeah,
and I think he's a really good director.
Sure.
They had a great concept. Andy Serkis is not back, but...
Of course.
They've got the quality looks like it's there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It hasn't dipped at all. So
hopefully it'll end in the spaceship landing, and
that's the hope.
Charlton Heston comes out and
we'll see.
Yells at the Statue of Liberty.
CG Charlton Heston.
CG young Charlton Heston. Yeah.
AI generated Charlton Heston.
No, it'll be Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. Yeah.
CGing motion capture. That'd be hilarious.
Next up, a little bit of Star Wars news.
Ooh, here we go.
Empire came out with their big magazine covers for the prequels. 25 years since Phantom Menace.
Yep.
It's getting the big theatrical re-release in May, which I'm psyched about.
Here we go.
They interviewed Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, that's right.
Who, of course, plays Mace Windu.
In episode 1, a lot of people forget. He is in episode 1.
He's in all 3.
He's sitting down almost the entire film.
He is sitting down.
Well,
every scene in episode 1.
He stands up.
Oh, does he?
He stands up and puts on the hood, remember, in the funeral?
That's right.
So there is one scene where he's standing. I think he actually might be walking in one scene, too.
Okay. Well, he was interviewed.
Yes.
About Mace and...
Is Mace alive? Is he coming back?
He claims he's not dead. That was his
That's
reaction.
What he claims.
That's his reaction. And then...
This is an official announcement. This is
No. This is just Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson saying... Mace Windu's always alive.
And then he was asked, so should he get a Disney Plus series? He says, everything, yes. That's his reaction.
Yes. Now, he could be coming back in some kind of a flashback or a prequel or whatever.
Hey, I say make the show. Make the old Mace show. He's alive. He's alive somehow. He's got a robot arm.
All right.
He's got a robot.
Now,
half of his body's a robot.
I've seen some fan art of this, actually.
Yeah.
Because his arm was cut off, so he has the robot arm.
Right.
He was electrified, so he has like burns all over him. That could be cool.
It could be great. Cool. I mean, just do a 6-episode little series.
I wouldn't mind him actually turning to the dark side and becoming an Inquisitor.
I would like to see him hunted by Boba Fett. Like get Daniel Logan back. Yeah. And like do that, like the resolution of that story.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
I think it'd be great. All right, so moving on, Ewan McGregor, speaking of Star Wars cast members, has been cast alongside Anne Hathaway in a new film about dinosaurs.
Okay.
But it's set in the 1980s.
So Jurassic Park.
From director David Robert Mitchell.
Okay.
Who we like. He did It Follows.
Good movie. It Follows is a very good movie.
Very good.
The dinosaur movie by the guy who did It Follows.
He's going to do the dinosaur movie.
I'm curious if it'll be a horror dinosaur thing,
I'm
or
sure
if it will
have
be
some horror elements to it at least.
Interesting.
But the rumor is that they're the parents of the kids that are the main characters.
Okay.
That encounter a dinosaur or something.
Sure.
Or
hey, Dino Dan the movie.
Lost on an Island. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe this should be Jurassic Park's next step.
Sure.
Do a little family lost in an island, or I don't know.
Hey, that's what they did with Battle at Big Rock, and it worked out really well.
Big Rock. I mean, really, all the Jurassic movies are that. It's like a family gets lost on the island, and dinosaurs chase them. I mean, it's pretty much every
there are no new
Jurassic movie. But anyways, I'll just have to keep our eyes out for that. We don't know what it is. No details on it yet. Travis Knight, who we're big fans of, he's the stop motion guy behind Laika. He did Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yep.
He made his way into live action with Bumblebee.
Yep.
Now he's up as the next director of Masters of the Universe.
Really?
The He-Man live action film.
I can see him doing it.
That Netflix has been developing a long time.
Yeah.
Several directors have come and gone. I think
they've got that animated series that's pretty successful.
Yeah, oh yeah, I like that animated series a lot. But I think he is the right choice.
Sure.
What he did with Bumblebee, if he can translate that to Masters of the Universe, man, I think that could be really cool.
Definitely. I mean, famously, the opening scene to Bumblebee is like the perfect culmination of 80s Transformers show into live action. There's just an awesome sci-fi action stuff going on. Yeah, very cool.
Luc Besson, who is one of my favorite directors, did Fifth Element.
Oh, okay.
He did Leon the Professional. Lucy recently.
Yep.
He's up to direct a new Dracula movie.
What's with all the Dracula movies lately?
A lot of Dracula, man.
We've been getting a ton of Dracula movies.
Everybody loves Dracula. He's been around forever.
I guess.
It's never going away.
I guess. Hey, you know what'd be cool is if we got like a Robert Pattinson Dracula movie. You make it like a rom-com. That'd be kind of cool.
Yes, I agree. The guy who played Batman as a vampire?
Yeah, the guy who played Batman as a vampire. Wouldn't that be funny?
He's cast Christoph Waltz
as
Count Dracula. Who I think is a great
That's actually a very good pick.
And Caleb Landry Jones as Renfield. He played Banshee in the X-Men First Class film. So he's already got his cast set.
Another X-Men First Class member playing Renfield.
That's right. Nicholas Hoult did it first.
That's hilarious.
Now we have Caleb Landry Jones.
That's hilarious.
So we'll be looking out for that. Another new movie from Ridley Scott, one of our favorite directors ever. He is set to direct a biopic about the Bee Gees.
Oh!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Very interesting story. If you know anything about the Bee Gees, they've got a couple documentaries out about their whole lives, those brothers.
Yeah.
But man,
have you seen
quite a compelling
Love and
story.
Mercy?
Yes, Beach Boys.
Beach Boys, not Bee Gees.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's Beach Boys. Yeah, Beach Boys, Bee Gees. It sounds similar,
you're
but
right,
it's
you're
not
right.
the same thing.
That's another great musical biopic.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ridley Scott, I mean, look, he doesn't really miss. I mean, he's made a couple of duds, as any director does. But I'm really looking forward to this.
Sure.
Big Bee Gees fan. So have to look out for that.
All the great directors, even Spielberg.
He's got 1941.
1941.
It's the only one. But last but not least, just a couple more things. Going into the Marvel realm.
Okay.
Nick Cage is rumored. This is just a rumor. It's not official word
He's
here.
coming back as Ghost Rider.
I wish. Maybe better. He might play live action Spider-Man Noir.
That would be awesome.
In a series that they're talking about doing with Sony. So
that would be really cool.
He voiced him in the animated film.
Yep, of course.
He supposedly is coming back for Beyond the Spider-Verse, but to see him in live action would be really cool.
He's spectacular.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, we had to talk about the Fantastic Four.
The casting has been announced. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. I know.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Great cast. We've got Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic.
As Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
Which I think is a great pick.
People
think he's too old. I don't know why they think that. Reed has always been old.
Reed's always been old.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't know. It's a different role than he's ever done before.
It is.
It's not a Mandalorian. It's not a Maxwell Lord.
But think about what he was able to do with something like... what was that one that he did? Oh, with Nick Cage. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He's got range.
He does have range.
He can do all kinds of different things. You know, Maxwell Lord is nothing like that character. That character is nothing like the Mandalorian. So to me, he's shown that he can basically do anything. Very serious stuff, very silly stuff.
Yeah.
It is going to be different.
Reed Richards is a very specific balance of he's a workaholic guy who's constantly in his work and putting his work above his family, and that causes a lot of drama and problems.
Super intelligent.
Right. But also, at the end of the day, is a family man.
Yes, 100%.
It's a really difficult, complicated character to portray.
We've seen him as, becoming a dad as the Mandalorian.
Sure.
And then we've seen him do, other stuff that I think he's going to pull it off. No problem.
I think he'll do fine.
Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm / Invisible Woman.
That's right.
Long rumored. She's great in the Mission Impossible films.
That's about the only thing I've seen her in.
She's great. I've seen her in, I think, a couple other things. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but she's a really good actress.
She's blonde. She's a very capable character. I think I can definitely see her doing this. Sue Storm is a very...
Caring, motherly,
introverted, nervous character who becomes more extroverted and more
confident.
Confident, exactly. It's a journey of confidence for
Definitely. Then we have Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm
That's right.
/ Human Torch, who I think is a great choice. He was Eddie on Stranger Things season 4.
Yes.
That's really the only thing I've seen him in. He's going to be in the new Quiet Place, so I'm excited to see that for what he does there.
For sure.
But yeah,
Quiet Place nailed it. I mean, that's Johnny Storm right there. He's got the energy. He's got or not Quiet Place. I mean, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He's got the energy.
Yeah,
he's
sure.
the kind of
high
punk
energy,
rock guy.
very confident.
He's
very
cool,
cocky,
kind of full of himself. Little brother character.
Yes,
definitely
works.
works.
The most immature one.
Right.
The most room to grow.
Yeah, which is a really fun contrast in the family dynamic of him and Sue.
Right.
It's like they're siblings.
She's very responsible, level-headed.
Exactly.
He's the opposite.
Right.
Then we have Ibn Moss Barak, or Backrack, as Ben Grimm / The Thing. Now
this is the guy from Andor. I know him from Andor.
He was in the show The Bear. I think.
That's right.
I haven't seen that, but he's done a couple things. I think he was in the Punisher series as well. Someone shared a screenshot of that. I never watched that show, but very good actor from what I've seen.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. I think he can definitely pull off Ben Grimm.
Michael Chiklis, who played the original Thing, has already said that he's talked to him and loves him, and he's ready. He thinks he's going to do great.
Awesome.
So he has the approval of the original Thing, who was great. I mean, Michael Chiklis was excellent.
For sure. He loved that character. Yeah. You can tell just from that performance.
Sure. Yeah. So that movie is set for July 25th, 2025. We have 6 films in the comic book genre coming out that year, starting with Captain America Brave New World on February 14th.
That's right.
Thunderbolts on May 2nd. Superman Legacy on July 11th.
Yes.
Same month.
Can't
then
wait.
we have The Fantastic Four on July 25th.
Yep.
The Batman Part 2 October 2nd.
Can't wait.
And Blade on November 7th.
Right. I forgot about Blade.
Wow.
Stacked.
Big year
Stacked
for comic
year.
book films.
Yeah.
I mean, this year I think we only have like 3 coming out. Next year is going to be absolutely insane. So, as much as people are talking about comic book fatigue, the genre is going nowhere.
The hits don't stop coming. I mean...
So... Well, that's it, folks, for movie news. Now let's jump into our review of Madam Web. All right, folks, this is it, our Madam Web review. We're going to start with non-spoilers. So just our non-spoiler thoughts on the movie in general. We've got the poster right here. We got it from the theater. They gave it to us, so we were super ecstatic about that.
I framed mine and hung it up in my room.
Carson, as you can tell, is a huge fan of this movie. I really do think that critics are being so harsh on this, I feel like, unfairly. I really do enjoy the movie. I think it is a well-made movie. I mean, I really don't have a ton of negative things to say about it. I'm not calling this best of the year or best of, the Spider-Verse or anything like that. But I'm saying I watched the movie. I had a good time. I wasn't miserable the whole time watching this thing. I thought the cast did a good job. Yeah. I thought it was very well shot and edited. It's set in 2003, which we'll get more into the kind of nitty gritty of all that in a minute. But I thought that kind of set it apart in a fun way. And so, yeah, look, I mean, I'm ready for Madam Web too, honestly. Yeah, I would watch a sequel.
Yeah. Just general thoughts. Expectations were so low going into it that if it was even a regular movie, it would have impressed me.
Sure.
But I think this was even more than just like a standard kind of passable movie. I think that this had actually a lot going on in terms of characters. They all have like complete arcs that are fully realized. I think the villain's really menacing and interesting. That they went into a lot of like spider mythology that I wasn't expecting them to go into, that I thought was a really cool way to set it apart from other kind of more sciencey oriented spider origins. It's kind of more mystical. So yeah, I love this movie. I thought the cast was really strong. I liked it a lot. What did you think, Josh?
I liked it as well. I don't think I'm quite as high. I watched your guys' after theater review. I don't think I'm quite as high on it as either of you. Maybe more Cameron than your opinion, Carson.
Sure.
I enjoyed it. I also had extremely low expectations because the trailer.
It's a bad trailer.
Terrible.
Yeah, and there was too many things going on in the trailer. Too many different things, their genres or whatever they were trying to angles. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
And then their track record with these movies haven't been great.
True.
I didn't know. Is it getting panned as bad critically as Mobius?
It's actually 1 point under what Morbius has on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Right, that's the Rotten Tomatoes score. Last I checked on the Letterboxd score, it had an average 1-star rating.
Yeah, it's I think it's the worst of all the Sony Spidey movies so far, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had the same. I don't remember which of you said it in your other video, but like, did people even watch this movie?
Exactly.
Right. I don't get it.
It's not a 1-star movie. It's not a 2-star movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think I'm somewhere between 3 and 3.5, which I know where both you guys are at. But did people watch the movie? The only way I could come up with that is if you were like, did all the critics think this was going to be an MCU movie from like a couple of years ago, and where we're at the height of it, and like, oh man, this is going to be amazing, and then I can see it. But that's not the case. So
if this had come out right after Endgame, then I would understand everyone bashing. Yeah, but this is a totally decent movie that deserves to be taken seriously, I think. Everyone, I think, kind of hates it as a joke because Morbius was such a big kind of joke. But this to me, it's not even. It just doesn't make sense that you would like actively hate a movie like this.
Right. Yeah, it's very strange.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you could do that. But no, I enjoyed the movie. I, like you guys said, I don't think it's something that like, oh, you got to go see it. But I was pleasantly surprised for the most part. I had a couple complaints here and there, but on the whole, I thought it was, solidly, 3-star, 3.5-star movie. It was pretty good.
Right.
I've seen some Letterboxd reviews because I was reading just to see why are these people rating it so low? What's going on? Some of these people are literally like, this is like a B movie. Like this should be shown at midnight showings at theaters, like The Room. Like people are literally like claiming this to be like one of the worst films of all time.
Right. Which is, again, I just don't get it. I don't get the hate.
That's got to be what they came into it with.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that really does have a lot to do with it because this movie, like you said, was poorly marketed. The trailer's awful. Even the posters and like, the promotional materials and stuff has not been great. The cast haven't really seemed like they were really into it, like from some of the interviews I've seen. So I don't know if that's playing into it. I'm not sure.
I think the general consensus is expectations are what has ruined this for a lot of people. Whether your expectations were really like ground level low, so low to a point where if it's even good, it doesn't matter, it wouldn't have changed your opinion. You already think it's trash. Or if they were just low enough to where it actually surprised you at how decent it was. Expectations go into a lot of enjoyment of a film in general.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, that's it for our non-spoiler thoughts. Again, I'm at 3.5 stars. Josh, you said you're about 3.
I was originally at 3, but some points that I was talking to my friend after church today, and he made a couple pointed out a couple things which I'll mention. So that I was like, okay, maybe it deserves 3.5.
Okay, and Carson's at 4.
I'm at 4 stars.
He's a big fan.
I really liked it.
Yeah,
and most of my enjoyment came out of this taking place in 2003
when he was born.
This is my birth year. The best movies came out in 2003, so already it gets a star for that.
But a Star Wars movie didn't come out in 2003.
That's true. That's true. But Return of the King did.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, touche.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for the non-spoilers. Let's get into spoilers right now. All right, so getting into the spoilers, this is a movie that, again, takes place in 2003.
Yeah, you want to just walk through the general plot
of the movie? Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
It opens with a really interesting, like, Amazon rainforest sequence. Where it's he was with my mother in the rainforest just before researching spiders just before she died.
Which that line, I don't think that's in. It's in the trailer, but it's not in the movie.
It's never spoken. They never say it. It's a meme line from the trailer
because it's basically her describing the plot,
right?
But it's not actually in the film.
It's spliced together through many separate sentences.
Right. Exactly.
She never actually says that. Anyways. But it's actually an interesting sequence because we kind of get her. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she
the jungle.
She wants to do her work, and we're kind of in the same mindset as Madam Web, where we're
Right.
like, oh, well, she cares more about her work than her kid. Yep. And as the movie goes on, we learn obviously the reason she's there is to save her kid.
Exactly.
Which came together, I think, in a really emotionally satisfying way.
Yeah.
That discovery is kind of, and really
it's a great through line.
Right. And the whole emotional core of the movie is about motherhood.
Yeah.
And it's about her becoming a surrogate mother and her estranged relationship with her mom. Yeah. There's a lot of early stuff because she works as an ambulance driver.
Right.
She's like and she's driving around.
Which was a great opening for her character. It was a great way to like drop us into like, here's who she is, here's what she does.
Yeah.
You know, and her and introducing Adam Scott's character, spoiler alert, Ben Parker. It is Uncle Ben.
That's right.
I didn't know that until the credits, and I saw his last name. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
because it's great because you get Uncle Ben. You obviously get Mary Parker,
right,
his sister, who's pregnant with Peter.
Yeah.
The running joke is like, what's his name? What's the baby's name?
I didn't catch any of that until I was like, oh, okay, they're withholding it. Oh, I wonder who it's going to be. Like I didn't pick up on anything until the very end when I saw that, and then I like retroactively.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. We're such comic book fans. As soon as she said Ben, we were like, "Oh, is that Uncle Ben?" And then May or Mary.
Like, oh, that's Mary. That's Mary.
Oh, they mentioned Richard.
Richard Parker. He's off on business. Yeah.
So that was neat. I thought that was a cool tie-in.
I know nothing about Madam Web, so I have no idea how that ties into anything. So I was just like, oh, she's in her own universe.
Right. No, that was cool. I thought that was a cool way to tie it in. It was unique, and it wasn't them just trying to shoehorn in a villain or some cameo or something. It felt like a natural part of the story. Which I thought was really well done.
And so again, that kind of ties into the themes of motherhood. Her being pregnant with Peter and Ben having just met May,
right? Who we don't see.
We don't see May, which is fine. But he talks about her, which I think was just so cool to see that.
That was great.
Dakota Johnson's character initially, she's given a little like drawing from a kid.
Oh yeah,
and she's like, I'm just gonna throw this in the garbage. Right. She like hates the idea of family because she was grown up in the foster system and lost both of her parents.
Right, but then through meeting these other three characters who all have destinies to become spider heroes. She kind of becomes a surrogate mother to them, which I thought was really cool. All three of those characters I felt like had great personalities, very distinct from one another. I thought all the actresses did a great job playing off of one another, and all of that was really well done.
They had a really good amount of chemistry in the sense that they were all really reserved. Like they didn't want to express themselves very much.
Right.
And they were kind of snippy and mean at each other in the beginning. And you get the diner scene, of course, where they all kind of like lighten up and dance around and have fun. And then you get, of course, the great like motel scene where they're all like, we all have nowhere to go. We're all like brought here for a reason. So it's really cool. It was really cool.
It was great character dynamics, great character arcs, like you mentioned. They kind of learn to trust one another and become a team. So a lot of positive stuff here for me. Again, I like the way a lot of the action was shot, kind of frantic, and especially like the ambulance scenes and stuff like that. And then of course, once she develops her abilities to see the future, the way that played out was really cool. And the way, she thought it was a joke at one time, and she's like, couldn't figure out what was going on. It made for some levity, but also some like kind of, thrilling moments too.
Super intense. When she was, the guy was getting hit by a car. And she had to save him. And that kind of just horrific moment over and over again. That kind of puts you in the mindset of her as like, this can be like kind of a funny, silly, like weird thing, and it can also be like a horrific, like curse nightmare. And that kind of puts us in the mindset of Ezekiel Toombs, the villain.
Sims,
Toombs, sorry, he
Adrian Toombs is Vulture.
Adrian Toombs, that's right. Sims, he's a really interesting villain. I describe him as Spider Batman. Because he's basically a rich guy in a black suit with a fancy car and a lot of tech. And he also has spider powers. So he was an interesting villain, and him and his kind of like quest for immortality. He's kind of like afraid of his own death because he dreams about it every night.
That was a great motivation for a villain.
For sure.
Very unique. It's usually like the villain's going out to kill someone, not like trying to prevent his own death.
Right.
So the villain's been wronged.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't like he was after vengeance or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like he's trying to stop this thing from happening to himself, which, I mean, anyone would, right? So, but he goes about it a very, wrong way.
Right.
But yeah. So again, a lot of positives here. Josh, do you want to mention anything else specific, like positive that you like before we get into some negatives and other details?
Yeah. Well, one of the things my friend pointed out was that there is no wokeness in the film.
Yeah, that's true. It's very, very rare nowadays.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that going into it until he said it afterwards. I was like, yeah, you're right. This is like, female led. They could have really gone ham with just shoehorning wokeness into this.
Yeah.
So it was quite refreshing that they didn't. And
good point. Good point.
That was really cool. He'd also mentioned the character development, which I didn't really realize. Like, oh yeah, especially even of what's Charlotte? Is she the main character? Is that her name?
Oh,
Natalie Johnson's character.
No.
Is it Charlotte?
No, I think it was. I think it was.
That would be funny if her name was Charlotte.
Oh man, what was it? I can't remember.
Oh, Cassandra Cassie.
Cassandra
Cassie.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I saw Charlotte listed somewhere. Never mind.
Charlotte
Cassie.
Hey, it's a good tie-in with Charlotte.
Yeah.
But even like you mentioned, the three girls had a good character arc, but she did too, that paired with the pacing was another thing that that my friend pointed out that I didn't think about, like watching the movie. I didn't think about, but it was really well paced between and the her flashback or flash forwards, I guess, gave a good like they used that well to interject action when there wasn't, like, normally, like it would have been a slower sequence or something.
Yeah.
But that like threw in something into the mix in each of those scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, those some points my friend made, which kind of make me want to bump it up a little bit because it was a little better than I thought. But I really liked the uniqueness of it. I'm not sure if I liked all of the uniqueness of it, like how it all worked out, like the spider people, where it was like cool that it was unique, but it was also kind of weird. But
yeah, I mean, obviously we're in full spoilers. There's a spider cult in the Amazon rainforest who harbinge basically the radioactive spiders in this underground cave.
Right.
And they all have spider powers.
And they have like kind of a Lazarus pit down there and all kinds of weird stuff. It's like, some bizarre mythology that they dove into that, I kind of like, because it's like something we haven't seen. But it is, it's new and fresh.
I liked all of their designs because they looked very much like a spider suit.
Right, it was red. They had like red body paint with the black.
It was like red webbing all over them.
Yep.
Oh, the tribe. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the three spider costumes.
Well, then and then talking about that was an interesting way to do it, because it was, you never really see them fully suited up. Like you see it in like these flashes, and then you see it at the very end. So that was kind of a unique way to do it. It's like you never actually see these ladies actually put on their suits and like go fight bad guys. Like they're in their civilian clothes the whole time, even in the third act, which the third act got a little messy for me, a little CG heavy.
They took it to the fireworks factory, baby.
It is just, exactly. They went big, but it didn't fully work for me. But it was cool to see her kind of develop that ability to go in multiple places at a time.
I'm shocked that they went full into her comic origin, where she went blind. She was in a wheelchair. And like that whole stuff. Like I'm surprised that they went that far.
I was
Why
too.
was she in a wheelchair? That didn't make sense.
I think something landed on her. I couldn't really tell, but I think when she fell in the water, there was something that
it has like a spider
hit her eyes.
Like spider body thing, robot spider thing.
And the comic, and usually this character is much older in the comics as well, and she's blind and she's in a wheelchair, I think just because she's older,
right?
And so they made her much younger in this take, and I guess they wanted to figure out some way to get her there,
right?
And so that's kind of how they did it, which I thought was interesting.
That was cool.
They could have maybe saved that for a sequel, but
it kind of reminds me of Oracle.
Very Oracle.
Very. As soon as she was in the wheelchair, and it's like, future power things.
Right.
It's like,
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, but to your point about the suits, I think that was a really good way to do it, and I liked. I mean, the suits themselves looked cool.
Awesome.
Some of it we've seen, some of it we haven't.
Right.
But and that was one thing from the trailer, is that made it look like we were going to get to that point where they were all like a team up fight.
Right.
And like the movie starts, whatever. I'm like, how are we going to get to that point from here without like 3 hours? Like, I don't think it's just going to be cheese.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. They didn't go that route. I'm glad as well. I thought they did a really good job with that. The storytelling overall was really good. And like you guys said, I really liked Adam Scott. He was a highlight for me as well. I loved their relationship in the beginning.
It's definitely the right amount.
Really, yeah. His character really helped, I don't know, just start the movie, I guess.
Yeah, he's just a great, useful, supportive character who's always like reliable and always there as kind of a positive.
And he had great chemistry with Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought their back and forth was really good. It really felt like friends,
They did a good job making it not seem romantic.
Yes, exactly.
Even though they kind of are or were, or I don't know, they made it sound like their relationship was like just kind of there, but they're not, like kind of on and again, off again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was interesting. So great. Well, all good stuff. Is there any negatives we want to mention? I think the weakest part of the movie for me was that there was nothing that felt super impactful that really like stayed with me.
Okay.
There's a lot of great moments throughout it. I just never felt like a big moment that like made me want to stand up and cheer or something like that. Which I kind of wanted. But the villain I think he was probably the weakest character out of the characters.
Sure.
Which is fine because he's the villain. It's really not about him.
Right.
And so
he's kind of a dark mirror of Madame Web, where they have the same kind of curse ability.
Sure.
But whereas he takes it selfishly, she takes it selflessly.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the only really major negatives. Some of the action I felt like could have been a little bit more hard hitting and kind of more exciting. But again, overall, there's not a whole lot that I didn't like a lot.
One of my biggest problems, and this is like a production issue, was there was a lot of bad ADR.
I did notice that.
Just like voiceover over the back
especially
of people's
with the
heads,
villain.
or sometimes even you can see their mouth not syncing up to what they're saying, which is really distracting. And most of the time it was for lines that didn't really matter. Yeah, it was a lot of the villain. I wonder if it's because like he has an accent that is hard to replicate. I don't know.
I thought that too, and I haven't had a chance to look it up yet. But my friend said that he's actually a Spanish actor, and he's spoke his lines in Spanish, and they ADR'd it with a afterwards.
That's definitely possible. For some of those lines, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, that totally makes sense how that because I noticed that too. I'm like, it seems like they ADR'd everything he says afterwards. But that would be it. Actually, a couple times when he's not on screen, you just hear his voice. I was like, that sounds like Diego Luna.
Right.
Maybe they hired Diego Luna to do the English voiceover. I don't know.
Right.
Which, hey, I mean, he has the full face mask, so just have him wear the face mask all the time.
There you go.
I don't know. Whatever. It was a weird choice.
A little distracting.
I don't know why, but whatever.
I thought the beginning with the beginning for Cassie's character in the ambulance sequence. I mean, maybe I haven't been to New York, so maybe it's actually true that people would honk at an ambulance. But I thought that was so unrealistic. That was the most unrealistic sequence of an ambulance ever.
Right.
Like we go through the whole ambulance movie that Michael Bay made. No one honks at it.
Right.
So, like, I thought they could have accomplished that sequence much better. Just remove the honks, and it would have been infinitely better. But it just took me out of the movie. I'm like, no one's gonna honk at an ambulance. What are we doing here?
Good point. Good point.
Actually, that is what it was necessary setup. I think they could have done it better, but it was necessary setup for later in the movie, which I liked that they did that. There was several things in this movie that they set up to bring back later.
Yeah.
And I liked that, and that they did that. And the 2003 thing, but all the aesthetic with the actual Pepsi can from back then.
Yeah.
That was cool to see all and hear all those different things.
Yep. Soundtrack choices, Beyonce posters, the whole thing. They had it all there, which is pretty neat.
Then it wasn't distracting. It wasn't like overbearingly 2000s, like kind of like the movie Turning Red. Yeah. It takes place in that era, and it's so much about being in that era that it kind of oversaturates and overshadows the story.
Yeah.
But this, it just felt pretty natural, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah.
It didn't really distract from what was happening.
I agree.
Yeah. The only
Although I liked that they didn't all have cell phones. That was nice.
that was cool. They were like, "You have a cell phone?" I liked that comment.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
That was good.
It made it feel more of the time.
Right.
Exactly.
And it made it being set then actually important.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere for them to go, nowhere for them to call. So yeah, it was cool.
We got to wrap it up, but one last thing. There's a scene that I wanted to mention that I thought was really cool. And it was the scene where she's discovering her ability and the bird hits the window.
Yes. Scrooge scene.
I love that scene. Yeah, it starts with Ebenezer Scrooge talking to Ghost of Christmas Future, which is a great reference.
Yes, perfect reference.
Yeah, and then it moves over to the bird, and it's a fully visual scene. She's kind of talking to herself a little bit, but it's all visually told, and it just totally explains what she can do in such an effective way.
For sure.
I felt that scene was really impressive.
Yeah, it definitely stood out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Any other specific moments you guys want to mention, spoiler-wise, or anything else? Characters that stood out? Or
I love the baby shower.
Baby shower.
I loved it.
That was like, it was weird because we're kind of experiencing it from her perspective. So it's like super awkward and kind of tense, like a little bit, just, seeing it on her perspective.
Yeah.
But then like, I don't know. I thought it was a really good scene too.
It was.
Definitely.
The right amount of humor and actual like intimate character drama going on there was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. The movie just overall I felt had a great balance of humor and drama, and it blended those things well, and it never felt it just felt it was just easy to watch. It was just one of those movies that you could just kind of watch and enjoy and have fun with, and it's over, and that's it. And so it stands alone really well. It's not one of these that's going to tie in. I mean, it could obviously make sequels, but it's not one of these. It's like, oh, you have to have seen that and this, and to get all the references. Right. If you're a Spider-Man fan like we are, you're going to get Ben Parker and all that stuff. But
which I think is another big problem with the marketing is that it kind of makes it seem like this is a multiversal crossover movie with all the different Spider ladies showing up and all of the It seems very confusing in the trailer. It's a very simple movie.
Yeah, it's true. So, anything else?
I was going to say, so Theory, obviously, one of the first Marvel movies in a long time with no end credit scene or mid credit scene or anything.
Right. Yes.
Which I think is probably because they just wanted to see how it would do without anchoring it to something, or they don't know exactly because Tom Hardy's last outing as Venom is coming up. So what's the plan going forward? Well, let's just not commit to anything right now. Right. I think that's probably what they were doing.
Smart choice.
But with it being in 2003, it can't be connected to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but do you think this is connecting to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man?
I don't think it's actually connected to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, considering that takes place in 2012.
They don't actually say it's
born. It does take
2003. Peter would have been born in 2003. I mean, he could have been high school age, I guess, barely.
I
think this is more of a Tom Holland origin. That's how I see it. I think that this Uncle Ben and Tom Holland's Aunt May would go really well together.
Wow.
And I think that this is a Tom Holland connected thing.
I like it. I like that idea. Yeah, the Andrew Garfield thing, I think they could make it work, because I don't think they ever actually say it's 2012 in the movie.
Sure.
So they could say it's actually a few years after that.
Yeah. Which would be fine.
It could tie into either one, I think. Or it could just be its own thing. I mean, it could be a whole new Spider-Man.
A new Spider-Man, that'd be cool.
I mean, why not? This could be, they're talking so much about Miles Morales is coming, one day to live action. So this could maybe be part of that universe or something. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of different things they could do with it, which is really cool. Unfortunately, it's not making enough money to warrant another sequel.
It's a big, terrible pity. I just hope they don't feel obligated to give us another Spider-Man origin, to make us another Spider-Man movie.
I think they will.
You can give us a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie with a Peter Parker who already exists. We don't need to know his origins,
right?
Or any of his villains or any of that stuff.
Yep.
So that's what they did with the Spider-Man PS4 game. It's not an origin. It's just here's Peter. He has a long history you guys all know about. We're just telling a Spider-Man story. So,
what did you guys think of the Spider-Man? The line, the
responsibility
on the line, yeah.
When great power comes, responsibility will follow, or I can't.
No,
when you take responsibility,
when you accept
great power.
Yeah, when you accept the responsibility, great power will
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I kind of liked, actually. That kind of puts that phrase in a new context, and it's like,
yeah,
the power
Mhm.
isn't your abilities.
Right.
The power is being responsible.
Right.
Being responsible is your superpower.
Right.
Which I kind of like that it's reframed that way.
Right.
It's something new that I think is cool.
Yeah, it was a good way to reword it. I don't think they ever need to reword it. I don't know why they feel like they have to every time.
Is it
I feel like
trademarked? Can they legally?
no,
not
they
use
can
it?
because
Is that
they
why?
used it in the Sam Raimi movies, so they can use the regular line from the comics. But I don't know. I think that just the filmmakers feel like we have to set it apart because it's not that thing.
Or
Right.
maybe if they quote it now, it would be too cheesy because we've been avoiding it so long.
Good point. Good point. But I feel like it gets
know.
an eye roll when they try to reword it every time.
Yeah. Although one, I almost didn't catch it. So when I did catch, I was like, oh,
it is very different. Yeah, it's unique.
I think it worked here. I think I didn't catch it till after it was said. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah, I liked it.
Mhm.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for our spoiler heavy discussion on Madam Web. Hopefully you got to see it. If you didn't, check it out. I mean, maybe you'll hate it like everyone else, but maybe you'll get something out of it like we did. Again, I just don't think it deserves the insane just hatred that it's got.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. All right, folks, that's it for our Madam Web review. Now it's time for us to discuss the superheroes who need their own movies. So this is something we talk about all the time.
We do.
So there's so many superhero movies. I mean, look, we got a Madam Web movie, folks. Madam Web. I mean, who's heard of her?
No one.
She's in 2 episodes of an animated series.
She is,
and has a couple comic books.
I know. She's a weird, creepy old lady who hangs around in a spider web who can like weave together the fragments of the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre character that would never have their own thing.
Especially before some of these that we're about to mention.
Exactly.
I mean, some of these we're about to mention are some long-standing comic book characters that have been around a long time.
Yeah. Very popular.
Some of them have been in animated series. Some of them have their own animated series.
Yeah.
Short films. But they've never had a full feature film
some of them,
theatrically released.
Some of them have been around a lot longer than Madam Web
100%. 100%.
So let's get into it. Let's do our pitches for superheroes who need movies.
Here we go. All right, so first of all, we're going to start off with some honorable mentions. We're huge comic book fans, so we've been reading comic books a long time. Mm-hmm. We know a lot of these characters. There's a lot of characters we want to see on the big screen. So these just didn't quite make the cut, but I had some kind of cool, like, little ideas. I just couldn't come up with a full idea.
Sure.
So I'm going to start with Spider-Man 2099, who we see in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Right.
Miles Morales, or Miguel O'Hara.
Miguel O'Hara, that's right.
Voiced by Oscar Isaac. Does a great job in this. I think this should be like sort of like if you took something like Blade Runner,
sure,
and you combined it with Spider-Man.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's very neo-noir, but action-packed at the same time. Right. I thought that could be a cool movie.
Yeah, that's a good idea. One of my ideas was for a Doctor Doom movie.
Okay.
He's a character that has
give him his own film.
He has a big mythology. He's the king of a sovereign nation. Right. He has a long like mysticism history.
Sure.
So there's definitely a lot of directions that you could go with that. I was thinking Green Knight would kind of be the template for that, as being like a part of royalty who goes out on this big adventure.
Wow.
Another movie I was thinking of was maybe Braveheart. He was going to be kind of the liberator of his people.
Okay.
So kind of combining those movies. Because
kind of a medieval vibe.
His is a very medieval nation.
Right.
So something like that would have been my pitch for a Doctor Doom.
I like it. I like the character Deathlock.
Okay. Deathlock's cool.
Deathlock is a really cool character. Yes. He's basically like RoboCop.
Yes.
So my idea was like a RoboCop meets Batman kind of idea.
Right.
Where he's like this vigilante out for justice, dealing with his humanity. Is he human? Is he not?
Right.
That whole thing. Okay. So that was an idea for Deathlock.
That's a good one.
Speaking of medieval, I'll give you another one of mine real quick. Black Knight, who I think, could get his own movie. He's in the MCU now.
I speculate that he'll show up in the Blade movie.
Really? Oh, that makes sense, given the post-credits scene. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Black Knight is another cool character, for sure. Yeah. He has a long-standing history in the Marvel Universe. My next pitch is Animal Man. one of my honorable mentions was Animal Man, because think about it. This is a superhero whose ability is he can communicate with the entire animal kingdom.
Yep.
You thought Aquaman was powerful? Think about Animal Man,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Every squirrel in New York City,
Right.
every ant on the planet, he can communicate with all of them. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So my pitches were a RRR, epic, like Animal
Yes.
Man
Yes.
raids a big town,
Love it.
and like animals take over the city or something like that. That kind of combined with a We Bought a Zoo situation where it's kind of lighter and more fun.
Family comedy.
Where it's like there's a zoo that's struggling in a small town, and all the animals are being abused.
That would be really good. That would actually work.
He
very
buys
well.
the zoo,
Right.
and he can communicate with them, and then it goes full RRR, and he takes over everything.
That's great. My next one was Cable. So Cable is a character that's
good
awesome.
pick.
He's in Deadpool too.
He is.
And Josh Brolin does a great job. He needs his own movie though.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it would be kind of like Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Futuristic war film.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the time loop,
But like
I'm saying this
like
kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a Days of Future Past.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Apocalyptic.
A little bit of that.
Mutant
right.
apocalypse.
Mhm. All in the future.
Right.
Kind of like Terminator.
Sure.
Like the future version of Terminator.
Exactly.
Like, all those glimpses we get in Terminator of them fighting the machines, all that.
Sure.
So that's my idea for Cable.
Yeah.
And then my last one is staying in the X-Men verse.
Well, my last
go ahead.
honorable mention
Sure, go
is Alpha Flight.
Oh, yes!
Alpha Flight is a group of Canadian superheroes. Mm-hmm. This is a very James Gunn idea.
Very James Gunn.
They're just kind of my pitch for this is do The Greatest Showman almost exactly, because that is basically an X-Men movie, and they're kind of like the X-Men.
Great point.
They're basically like a series of like circus freak characters who are all like trying to be superheroes on their own,
Right.
and this one guy brings them all together, and kind of like a family situation. So it would be similar to Greatest Showman, except instead of a circus, it's a superhero group.
Right. Great. I love it. I love it.
What's your last?
My last
mention?
one, again, staying in the X-Men world. It's funny you mentioned Greatest Showman, because I thought this is Greatest Showman meets John Wick, basically.
Oh, okay.
And it's Nightcrawler.
Ooh, yeah.
Nightcrawler has this great circus background.
For sure.
But what they did with him in X-Men 2
Yes.
is the coolest. It's still one of the best
I agree.
action scenes in any comic
It
book
is.
film.
The White House raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do that, but on a large scale.
Yeah.
John Wick style. He's going out for revenge for his parents' death. Or
I would
whatever.
even make it kind of a Seventh Seal type religious drama.
Yeah. You could definitely
because he's
do
a
that.
very Catholic character.
That's true.
So
That's
it could
true.
be kind of a like something like that would have been cool.
Well, John Wick does have, especially in the later films, does have a lot of that religious imagery in it.
That's for sure.
So
yeah.
I
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves as Nightcrawler.
Oh, there you go.
He could do it.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right.
On to our official pitch lists.
Yes. Okay, so you've got...
We both have 10.
We both have 10. 5 for Marvel, 5 for DC.
That's right.
So why don't you kick us off? What is your first Marvel pitch?
We'll
do the Marvel pitch.
We'll do Marvel's first.
Okay.
My first Marvel pitch is the Power Pack.
Oh. I
Now,
like the Power Pack.
The Power Pack are basically the children of the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
They're incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're doing because they're little kids. So this movie would be similar to Sky High in the sense that it's a group of young, underestimated superheroes who have amazing powers.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of this movie, they would meet all of these other mentors characters who are established heroes.
Okay.
So you'd meet Uncle Ben Grimm, the Thing is there, or you'd meet Beta Ray Bill, or you'd meet whatever. Okay. They meet a bunch of adult heroes throughout their journey in the comics. Mm-hmm. And it would also be like Spy Kids. So Spy Kids is kind of the plot. So the Fantastic Four are thrust into a different dimension, and the Power Pack has to take care of New York while they're gone. So it's kind of that idea of those young kid heroes have to step up for their parents. Great. Kind of a family story about these siblings having to work together. I think there's 4 of them.
Right.
But that's the idea. That's the pitch.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Green light. Go.
Green light it. Hey.
Do you have any casting or any director in mind?
It's hard to pin down
like
casting for this. Obviously, Robert Rodriguez would be great.
Oh, of course.
But
you just get those new Spy Kids kids.
Get
those work with for Armageddon.
They were both great. I like both of them a lot. Yeah.
Cool. Great. All right. Well, my first pitch for Marvel is you're probably you're gonna be surprised.
All right.
The Adventures of Squirrel Girl.
Yes. Okay. This is a good idea.
So Squirrel Girl, it's a superhero comedy, obviously, because Squirrel Girl.
Of course.
It's the title. It makes you laugh.
It kind of like Ant-Man.
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's in that vein.
Right.
To me, this is kind of, I'm referencing like the Marvels and Birds of Prey.
Okay.
I'm not going as gritty as Birds of Prey,
but
that's kind of
a girls' night out.
It's a girls' night out type film. Meets Home Alone.
Okay.
So what I'm doing
now,
is
Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2?
Home Alone 1.
Okay.
It's all set in the X Mansion.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Professor and the adults are all away on a mission.
Right.
And the kids are home.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out who would be a good like older mentor to be there with them, because obviously they have to leave someone behind.
Right.
I think I kind of like Professor X being there, but he's so powerful.
Right.
That I feel like
although you could even have him be there and have him just be like, I'm going to let you kids take care of this. He's
maybe he's in some kind of trance or something.
Sure.
Maybe he's
using Cerebro.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a million excuses.
Exactly. So I didn't nail down that, but that I like that idea.
Yeah.
I've got Eva Longoria directing this.
Okay.
She just directed her first film.
Yeah.
Flamin' Hot.
Okay.
Have you seen this yet? It's a really solid film.
Is it good?
It's very well made.
Okay.
I think she could totally pull it off. The comedy in it works.
Yeah.
So it's a very well made movie. I think she would do a great job at it.
Great.
I've got Sophia Lillis as Squirrel Girl. She played I forget the character's name that transforms into that owl bear in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, she'd be great.
She would be a great Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Paris Barelek, who's a younger actress, as Jubilee. I've got Daniel Anderson as Nightcrawler. He's a German actor.
Okay, great.
I've got Mackenzie Foy as Kitty Pryde.
Wow. Okay.
And then, of course, Taylor Swift has to show up as Dazzler, which the fans have wanted forever.
Give us Tay-Tay as Dazzler, dude.
So the whole premise is they're at the X Mansion, and then we've got Kate Winslet coming in as Emma Frost.
Wow. You got a full X-Men here.
Alicia Cuthbert as Mystique.
Okay.
Becky G as Psylocke, who played the Yellow Ranger in Power
Rangers.
So
now, is this an MCU X-Men?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be. I mean, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, it could all tie in.
Yeah.
Noel Fisher as Toad.
Okay.
I like Colin Firth as Professor X and Jason Isaacs as Magneto.
Interesting.
And so Magneto and his Brotherhood of Mutants come in and invade the X Mansion, trying to get to Cerebro or something that the Professor has there. They're trying to get.
Yeah.
And these young kids have to band together. And
sounds kind of like there's a comic called The Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Yep.
Where the Legion's away on a mission and all of the kind of lamos are left behind and they have to fend for themselves.
Very much my idea.
Cool. Yeah. I like that. That's a good pitch.
So that's my pitch. Green lighting it? Or not?
I like the idea of it. There's just other stuff I think I'd rather see.
Well, I think you have to set up...
You have to set up X-Men.
Right.
If you set up an X-Men, then this is, I think, a cool idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be a series, too.
It could be a series. It's... Because to me, that story is an episode. It's like a one-off episode where it's either like a Star Trek episode where it's like the lower decks people have to take over, or it's there's always like
you could do it in 30 or 40 minutes.
You could do a what is it? New Marvel Spotlight?
Yeah.
Special presentation.
Yeah, just a short form.
I could see it being one of those for sure.
Okay, cool. What do you got next?
Next on my Marvel list is Kazar and Zabu.
Yes,
Kazar and Zabu.
Man,
this is awesome. In the same vein as Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar.
Okay.
So the premise is we have Alexander Skarsgård as Kazar.
Of course. He's already played Tarzan. He's already played the character.
Natalie Dormer as Shiana, the She-Devil. She's
I like her. She's a good actress.
The secondary character. And then I have Ben Winshaw playing the Plunderer, who's the main villain of the Kazar Zabu story.
He's a good actor too.
Yeah, he's good. Okay. And then Michael G. Hall would voice Zabu.
Okay.
So that's the cast.
I like it.
The story is kind of obviously you'd have Kazar, who is this new young adventurer who finds the Savage Lands. Okay, so he finds the Savage Lands. He's there. He has to prove himself to the tribe. The only way he can prove himself is if he defeats the legendary monster Zabu. There's this monster out in the woods who's been tormenting the people, and they're like, oh, we're just going to kill this guy. They'll send him off in the woods. Go defeat Zabu.
Right.
And he comes back, and Zabu's his pet. It's like his buddy.
I love it.
And they become best friends.
That's great.
And he has to stop the plunderer from just destroying the Savage Lands.
Okay.
So that's the pitch.
I like it.
There it is.
I like it.
Very standalone, very small.
Right.
The Savage Lands, obviously, there's a ton of stuff you can do there. X-Men go in the Savage Lands all the time.
That's the thing that I would change about it.
Really?
I would put X-Men in this.
Really?
I actually would.
Okay.
I know it sounds like it would be too much,
Sure.
but I think it needs it.
Okay.
I think it's so off the wall and feels so Tarzan that
Right,
you
right.
need X-Men or something else in there to give it a different vibe.
Sure. All right.
That's the only thing I would change.
That's fine. I was thinking of it more as a kind of Timon and Pumbaa buddy story. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
like a Lion King thing.
Sure.
Where it was kind of the Khazar Zabu relationship is the center.
It's another one that could make a cool series.
Sure.
Because you could get them on all kinds of adventures
Yeah.
in the Savage Land, bring other characters in.
Definitely.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah. Orange or yellow light that one.
Yellow light it. Yellow light it. Cautiously move forward. All right, my next one is Weapon X.
Ooh.
So
now I feel like we've gotten a lot of Weapon X stories. Do you have a story here that's different?
This is different.
All right.
This is different. Okay.
We've got X-Men Origins Wolverine.
It's in.
We've got
Here's
X1.
what it is. Here's what it is right here. It's Hannah.
Oh.
Have you seen Hannah?
I haven't seen Hannah. I've heard of it.
This is not about Wolverine.
No.
This is about X-23.
Ooh.
This is a Laura Kinney story.
Okay.
So this is a coming-of-age action assassin film.
Sure.
Gritty, dark.
Yeah.
It's, a young mutant is trained from birth to be the ultimate assassin,
Okay.
but once she breaks free, she must learn the ways of the world and take down the organization that created her.
Now, is this a Logan situation where Logan's her mentor and...
So Wolverine has to be in it.
Sure.
I don't think he's a main character in it. I think he's kind of in the background.
Sure.
He's kind of like a presence that's there that she never fully connects with.
Right. I like that.
I like the idea of he's kind of like chasing after her.
Sure.
Like he's kind of trying to stop her from doing this crazy stuff she's doing.
Yeah.
Going after, even though she's going after the bad guys.
Right.
He's kind of has to step in and stop her.
Mm-hmm.
And he, of course, X-Men never go out alone. Even Wolverine has to have a teammate.
Of course.
So I was like, who would be fun to team him with to stop her?
Right.
I like doing Boom Boom.
Oh, good pick.
Because she's kind of a loose cannon herself.
For sure.
And he's kind of having to keep her under control while they're also having to stop.
I like that. I like that dynamic. That's a
fun
good
dynamic.
cast.
And then, of course, you have Brooklyn Prince. She's a young actress, but great as X-23.
Okay.
Daphne Keane was great in Logan, but I would rather recast.
Sure.
Taron Egerton. A lot of people like him as Wolverine. I think he'd be a great Wolverine.
Okay, I can see that.
Dove Cameron as Boom Boom. I think would be great.
Good pick.
Then I have Pilu Abayek as Omega Red. He's the Russian guy from ISS, what we just saw. ISS.
Okay, yeah.
I think he would be great as Omega Red. Bill Burr as Deadpool.
I like that.
Recast Deadpool.
Yeah.
Who people would be nuts about, but whatever. I think Bill Burr would be perfect. And then William Fichtner as Colonel Stryker.
Okay. Okay.
That's
cool.
my pitch for. And the director is none other than Catherine Bigelow, who directed Point Break and The Hurt Locker.
Okay.
One of the best female directors of all time.
Very cool. Very cool. Excellent.
Awesome. That's it. That's Weapon X.
I love it.
Greenlighting it?
Green light.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
Awesome.
that idea.
Cool.
That's great. Love it.
Great. All right, what do you got next?
All right, this is the second to last Marvel pitch.
Yep.
I have Heroes for Hire.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're already set up. They're ready to go.
I know they're set up, and they haven't announced it, and they're not moving towards it, and this is what gets me worried. So here's the idea. You've got Luke Cage, and you've got Iron Fist. Mm-hmm. Now, this, to me, should be a full MCU thing. You should bring the full Defenders cast back.
Okay.
All of them were excellent in their roles.
Yeah.
I like them all.
Sure.
So the idea is you've got Luke Cage and Iron Fist, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're doing superhero work, but people have kind of... You take the idea of superhero fatigue and implement that into the MCU. People are kind of tired of these superheroes constantly causing these problems.
The superheroes are tired of it themselves.
Exactly.
They're like, we're done.
So Luke Cage is like, I can't even afford to pay rent. and so is Iron Fist. I can't keep my dojo open.
Great.
So they decide to go at it for money.
Love it.
So they become the heroes for hire.
Great idea.
They bring in Jessica Jones.
Sure.
Because they need, the more heroes they have, the more powerful they are, the more money they can make.
Right.
And then Daredevil is kind of an antagonist to the group. Because he's like, you guys are doing this for money. Because his whole thing is charity.
Yes.
So he kind of comes in and tries to like break them up a little bit. But they end up going their separate ways. A lot of villains you could do for this. I like the idea of just like an ensemble cast of villains that are just kind of disconnected but are connected to a bigger plot thread. So the main plot would be around the Feast organization, which is a Spider-Man thing.
Right.
Where you have Mr. Negative is at the center of that. So he's kind of your main villain there.
Okay.
And then he is hiring a bunch of random, villains for hire.
Okay.
To go stop these heroes who are trying to...
This sounds a little like Spectacular Spider-Man, how they do the big man, and he's got hired out like Shocker.
Right. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So you've got all kinds of random villains. You got Screwball.
Okay.
She's a relatively new villain.
Okay.
Who's cool. You've got just a bunch of other like street level heroes, street level villains who are coming in.
You could do Rhino. You could do Sandman.
Sure, you could do Rhino, Sandman, and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, but that's basically the idea.
Okay.
Is you bring all those together.
They're
all separate cases that lead to the overarching plot.
Right.
Right. So something like that. I think that's the pitch.
I'll greenlight it.
Okay.
I think it's fun. I think it sounds fun.
I think
it's already established. Kind of. Yeah. Which is they've got it set up. I think it lends itself more to a series.
I think so too. But
I think it could work.
I can see a series long or a season long story going on there. Sure. And my problem with a lot of the series recently is I wish most of them were movies. So I think you could condense this into a film.
Okay, cool. All right, my next one is Starjammers.
Ooh, yes.
Starjammers, for those who don't know.
Greenlit.
Starjammers is loosely tied to X-Men.
Okay.
It's cosmic spacefaring adventure team of space pirates, essentially.
It's like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing?
So this, to me, is... let's see. It's very Guardians... But it's also got a little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean flavor.
Because they're space pirates.
They're space pirates. It's maybe a little bit of Fifth Element, kind of zany, kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it's about a band of space pirates who pick up their captain's long-lost sons, who go on an adventure with them across the cosmos and must defeat an alien tyrant.
Who are his sons?
So Corsair is the captain in question.
Yep.
Played by none other than Brad Pitt, who did a great job as a pirate in Sinbad, voicing Sinbad in Legend of the Seven Seas.
Absolutely.
Then we have his son Scott Summers Cyclops.
That's right.
And Alex Summers Havoc.
So this is a story about Cyclops' dad, who's a space pirate.
Exactly.
This is in the comics, by the way.
It's on the comics.
Yeah.
Cyclops played by Dylan O'Brien. Alex Summers Havoc played by Logan Lerman.
Okay.
And then what we would have is we have to fill out his crew. So he's got a really fun, interesting crew. Right. The core crew include this huge, giant, green alien guy called Chod. He would be voiced by Dolph Lundgren.
Okay.
And then you, of course, have Corvus, who's a very interesting character. Alex O'Loughlin is an actor I like from the show Hawaii Five-0, the new reboot version.
Right.
I think he would make a good Corvus. Raza Longknife. I cast Farron Tahir, who played the villain in Iron Man. He was a member of the Ten Rings, the leader of the Ten Rings.
Right.
I think he would make a great Raza. Then we have Angelina Jolie. Okay. So we're reteaming Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right.
Angelina Jolie is Hepzibah, who's kind of his first mate character.
Cool.
Then we've got Morris Chestnut. I cast as Terrax the Tamer, who is one of the Heralds of Galactus.
Ooh.
Okay, so he's our villain.
That's cool.
And then, of course, we have to have a cameo by Silver Surfer as well to tie it in,
of course,
to the future of that. So
very cool.
That's my idea. Michael Matthews, I think, would be a good director. He directed Love and Monsters, which kind of has that fun adventure vibe to it.
Yeah.
Kind of a lighter feel, but it has some emotional moments in it too.
Good pick.
Like him as a director. I'd like to see him do more stuff. So yeah, that's a big sci-fi action.
The only other thing I'd like to see is Mojo World.
Oh, Mojo would be fun.
You
could definitely do Mojo. In this or in a sequel.
Yeah.
The Starjammers, they're a big cosmic story, so it could definitely be a trilogy.
For sure.
So, okay, great. Move on to your next one. What do you got?
Next I have Beta Ray Bill.
Nice.
Beta Ray Bill, this is one of my favorite Marvel characters ever.
That's great.
If you don't know, he is a space horseman who wields Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Which Thor has Stormbreaker right now in the MCU. Right. But yeah, he's a very noble character.
Mm-hmm.
He's instantly worthy of being Thor. It's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
So here's the pitch. It's Excalibur, Joe versus the Volcano, and Lawrence of Arabia. Okay?
Interesting.
Those are the three. Excalibur because it's a very Shakespearean. He's a very proper character in the way that he speaks and carries himself.
More like the first Thor.
Sure. Yeah, kind of like the first Thor. Joe versus the Volcano because this is an epic journey of self-discovery and self-sacrifice as kind of like the whole theme
it's
of that.
It's a little wacky.
It is a little wacky as well. And Lawrence of Arabia because the scale is obviously has to be epic because it's a space story.
Right.
So Liam Hemsworth is who I'm casting as Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, nice.
So that way you can have Liam and Chris, both Hemsworth brothers.
Right.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
That would be fun.
And then I also want Jamie Alexander to come back as Lady Sif.
Has to.
I mean,
man,
she was great, and
she's been so underutilized.
Everything she's been in. So I'd love for the two of them to kind of go on again Joe versus Volcano style adventure.
Yep.
It's like an epic quest drama.
Right.
Is kind of the genre I'm going for. And instead of Stormbreaker, I'm going for Yarnbjorn. Okay?
Oh, yes.
So Yarnbjorn the Axe is a legendary weapon forged in the heart of a dying star. Can only be wielded by those who are worthy. Okay?
Love it.
Captain of the Scuttlebutt is Beta Ray Bill. Okay? His ship that houses all of his people is called the Scuttlebutt.
Yep.
Okay? So he is seeking to liberate his people by finding Yarnbjorn and putting an end to tyrannical rule on his world.
Great.
So he goes on this epic adventure. His faith is tested. It's just this awesome quest of endurance and selflessness.
I like it.
He's just a pure, selfless character.
Right.
So seeing a bunch of things thrown at him is kind of going to be the intrigue there.
Right.
Obviously, having Sif there as well will be interesting to see because she's seeing how Thor is acting and how Asgard's being run and how it's kind of in a state of chaos. Again, this is all MCU stuff.
Right.
I think Beta Ray Bill would be a cool return to form for the space mythology of the MCU.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Excellent choice.
Beta Ray Bill.
I'll greenlight it. I've been waiting for that one too for a while. All right. My next one is on my shirt.
Ooh.
Silver Surfer.
Yes.
Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters.
He's great.
In the Marvel Comics. He's another very selfless character.
Right.
He's got a great romantic story as well.
For sure.
So I'm pitching this as sort of like Passengers.
Okay.
Right? So it's kind of like Passengers mixed with 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh.
Okay. So it's a big, very kind of cerebral sci-fi romance story.
Okay.
So most of it's on his planet.
Right.
It's just him leading a peaceful life. Just got engaged. He's about to get married.
Great.
And then a devastating event takes place. Galactus, the devourer of worlds,
That's right,
arrives on his planet, ready to devour it.
Right.
And of course, as his origin story goes, he gives himself up so that his planet will not be destroyed, and puts himself into essentially slavery for his people to become the herald of Galactus and find him other worlds that he can destroy, not his own. This was all already in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, at least very minimally.
Right.
It's in this movie.
This was told in one of the animated series as well. I'm pretty.
Oh, sure. Well, Silver Surfer has his own animated series,
yeah.
Which was really cool back in the '90s. But this movie, I felt like it just didn't quite do him justice because he's in so little of it. I feel like he's just kind of there as a plot device.
Yeah.
He's not really a character.
Exactly.
So I really wanted to delve into his backstory, and it's all going to take place in space on his planet. Like I said, mostly setting up him as a character, who he is, and what he's doing. I thought James Gray would be a great choice to direct. He did Ad Astra.
Okay.
With Brad Pitt, a very kind of, again, contemplative, slower paced type of a sci-fi film. Silver Surfer, I don't see this as being a big action movie. I see this as being a very character-driven, again, kind of romantic story. About kind of big things happening. It's almost more of a disaster film.
Okay.
It's like when Galactus arrives, like the planet starts, like crazy stuff starts happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have to kind of figure it out. And then there's the big meeting between him and Galactus.
Right.
And then he kind of becomes Silver Surfer and you know, that kind of thing. So
I like it.
It's different. You know, it's a bit odd. But I think it could really work. I cast Alex Pettyfer as Norrin Radd, who is the Silver Surfer. He played Alex Rider in the live-action adaptation of those books.
Right.
Great actor. Lily James as Sha LaBelle.
Okay.
Who's his love interest, actress I really like. And then voicing Galactus, you got to get a big voice. I picked Kevin Michael Richardson, who is one of the best voice actors out there. Who's been voice acting for so long.
Right.
And always does a great job.
I love it.
As Galactus, I think he would be perfect. So a small cast. I'm not thinking of this as, a big movie. Even though big things are going to happen. Big disaster stuff, you know. But I want to keep it pretty intimate, you know, with the characters. So
great.
That's my pitch for
Green Light.
Surfer.
Green Light.
Okay, cool.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it. Love the idea.
Great.
My last Marvel pitch is Nova. We've got to have a Nova thing.
Nova. I mean... We haven't had Nova yet.
I know.
It's crazy that we haven't had Nova.
We've had the Nova Corps show up in like 3 movies in the MCU.
That's right.
And no Nova.
It's crazy.
So Nova's obviously, he's an Earth boy who...
Richard Rider? You did Richard Rider version?
Yep, Richard Rider. He becomes a space cop.
Right.
He becomes basically kind of a RoboCop in space character. He can like shoot lasers and fly around.
Green Lantern-esque.
Very Green Lantern. Very Green Lantern for sure. I would kind of inspire this from Last Starfighter.
Oh, okay.
So Last Starfighter is kind of the premise where you have like a kid who is really good at this like shooting game, this arcade shooting game. You know, it's like a cop shooting game, and it's basically that Last Starfighter story.
Yeah.
But you also put in a little bit of Tron Legacy, where there's an older and wiser Nova, who he has to kind of...
John C. Reilly, bring him back.
Sure. You've got to kind of hunt him down and find him, and it winds up kind of not being what he expects, and yeah, you have that kind of classic drama going on between them. But yeah, that's general pitch for a Nova story.
Excellent. Yeah. Love it. Green light. I mean, they've been needed to make this movie for a long time.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think it's in the works. I think it's been in the works, but they just haven't found the right people involved. So, excellent. All right, my last Marvel pitch is Gambit.
Of course.
Gambit, my favorite of the X-Men. Him and Cyclops are right there for me.
Neck and neck.
Both are great. Very different characters, but very great characters. Yeah. So, this to me is a heist rom-com.
Ooh.
With a like more of a noir vibe, though.
Right.
So I'm looking at like Logan Lucky.
Sure.
You know, like this is very much kind of the template, but also throwing in a little bit of drive.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's got the kind of fun heist vibe, but a little bit of a darker edge to it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because his whole thing, he's a part of the Thieves Guild. Okay. And he was an orphan. He was brought into the Thieves Guild, adopted by them after living on the streets, becoming a thief himself. But they declare war on the Assassins Guild. So there's all these guilds in New Orleans of all these criminals. So the Assassins Guild and the Thieves Guild
Very
are
John
at war.
Wick.
Very John Wick. Yeah, there's a little bit of that vibe in there too. So the Assassins Guild declare war on the Thieves Guild, and only Remy LeBeau, Gambit, can bring peace by pulling off an elaborate and dangerous heist.
Ooh, I like that. I like that idea. That's cool.
So that's the idea. Chad Stahelski from John Wick is going to direct it. We've got, as Remy LeBeau, Austin Butler.
Ooh, I like that.
Great.
Yeah,
I mean, what he did with Elvis and what he's doing in Dune Part 2 from what we've seen.
Yeah.
looks perfect for Gambit.
Definitely.
Chloe Grace Moretz as Belladonna,
Okay.
who is his love interest in the film.
So no Rogue.
Britt Robertson is Rogue.
Ooh.
Britt Robertson from Tomorrowland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
she's great.
She's Rogue.
She'd be an awesome Rogue.
So the story is, as he and Belladonna are kind of pulling off this heist, of course the X-Men get wind of it. And they're like, okay, there's all this chaos going on in New Orleans. We need to figure it out. Let's send a small team down to check it out. Yeah. So Britt Robertson as Rogue, Kyle MacLachlan as Beast. Or we could have Kelsey Grammer. He's great as Beast.
Sure.
But I was recasting everybody.
Right.
Angela Bassett as Storm. Coming down there too, because I wanted like 2 older, like senior level members, and then a younger one.
Yeah.
And so they all get caught up in it.
Okay.
Rogue especially.
Right.
And it kind of becomes a love triangle between them.
Sure, I like that.
A lot of action, a lot of fun, just really cool heist movie that they're going to pull off there. And then in the background, we find out that the actual villain pulling all the strings is Mr. Sinister, and it's John Hamm.
Yes.
As Mr. Sinister.
Awesome.
He was going to play Mr. Sinister in X-Men, the one after Apocalypse. I think they were talking about doing him as Mr. Sinister. He was like in negotiations to do that, and then they changed the whole idea.
Very cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's it.
I like it. Green light. I love Gambit.
Great.
I love the idea. That sounds really fun. It's definitely a movie I'd love to see.
Awesome. All right, folks. It's time to move into DC.
That's right.
And we're massive DC fans.
Massive.
We lean towards DC. We always have. The animated series, Superman, Batman, Justice League, all that stuff we grew up on. And so I've got a lot of DC pitches. I'm going to go through them quickly.
I do too.
My honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Because I've got several here. So, first of all, Justice Society. They need to make this.
Of course.
We got a little bit of it in Black Adam.
Right.
It just didn't come together completely.
That's a big reason I didn't include it was because of the Black Adam.
Yeah, but your template there is Justice Society World War II. This animated film is excellent. Yeah. So great team there. Like that movie a lot. I'm a huge fan of Hawk and Dove. I think Hawk and Dove would make a great film.
They would be great.
They have a great episode of Justice League Unlimited, the series, which we'll be referring to a lot.
For sure.
Great episode there you can check out.
Definitely.
Big fan of Etrigan the Demon.
Love
that
Etrigan.
would kind of be, to me, that's kind of like Wolfman.
Yeah.
You kind of like do a Wolfman Incredible Hulk vibe thing with him, but like set in medieval times, kind of like Excalibur.
I'd love to see just a Martian Manhunter movie.
Martian Manhunter. I agree. I was actually really considering making a Martian Manhunter movie. To me, his movie is War of the Worlds.
Oh. Okay.
But it's set on Mars.
Interesting.
So that's the kind of story.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go and do Justice League The New Frontier.
Oh.
And it's him as a detective.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a detective story.
That was my idea.
In the background with the alien invasion story.
My idea was a 7/training day detective story. Super dark, super gritty.
Yep.
Just about a guy. Yep. You don't find out he's a Martian until part of the way through.
Oh.
You kind of discover he starts shape-shifting.
What's the title?
It's just Manhunter.
Oh, it's Manhunter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's just called Manhunter. It's a small kind of interpersonal cop drama.
Okay, I like it.
Slowly
see
discover
what my idea was. You call it Martian Manhunter, and it's the alien invasion story that's taking place on Mars. The white Martians are coming in and fighting the green Martians.
Right.
And it's all about him and his family.
Right.
Just like what they did with Justice League.
Sure.
His character was so good. Then you're flashing to this human guy detective, and you're like, how is this? Oh, he's going to find out that there's Martians, and then no, you find out he is the Martian at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is a reveal.
Yeah. I like that.
At the end, but yeah. So
do it, guys. Manhunter.
That would be great. It would be great. Static Shock is what I want.
Ooh,
just do like a fun kind of teen comedy version of that.
Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark.
That's one that would be really cool. We got Zatanna.
Kamandi, the last boy on Earth. I mean, it's I Am Legend, bro.
I
Am Legend, but mixed with like a lighter, funner kind of. They did that short film, which was the template. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect.
For sure.
Vigilante would make a great Western. You could do The Question, of course. He's one of our favorites. Green Arrow, I really wanted a Green Arrow movie because I think Green Arrow, you have that whole like, he's trapped on a deserted island, and then he comes back to his city, and he's got to defend his city. Yeah. It's just a perfect for a movie.
I know. His show was really popular, so I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Green Arrow movie already. All right, let's go into our official picks
I got to do my last honorable mention.
All right.
Because this was like so hard to cut, but another character just barely edged it out.
All right, what is it?
Lobo.
Oh, Lobo.
Which we basically know they're going to make because Jason Momoa is Lobo.
He is.
So Lobo to me,
Aquaman 2.
What you do
anyone
is,
who's seen Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, he's basically Lobo for half that movie.
It's Aquaman meets Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Is Lobo.
Do you do War World too?
100%. So my idea is War World, which is this planet that's a gladiator arena.
Right.
Which we see in the first season of Justice League.
Run by Mongol.
Run by Mongol.
Yeah.
So you've got Jason Momoa as Lobo. You got Superman. He's hunting down Superman and Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a bounty hunter.
'Cause
Lobo's
they're
a space bounty hunter.
Right. They're the last surviving members of their species.
And he's the last of his.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Man of Tomorrow, right? Superman Man of Tomorrow, which features Lobo heavily, and Martian Manhunter, and Superman. So that's who you bring together. And you bring all those together for a big world knockdown, drag-out battle.
Okay, cool.
You've got... I had to cast Superman. I cast Josh Hartnett as Superman.
Oh, cool.
Who's a great actor. Yeah. Dennis Haysbert as Martian Manhunter. Liev Schreiber as Mongol.
Okay.
And then I love Draga from that World episode. I cast Russell Crowe because he's Gladiator. He's the Gladiator.
Of course.
So Russell Crowe is Draga.
Genius.
Genius. And there you go. And that's your Lobo movie.
I love it.
It's a fun gladiatorial battle at the end.
Right.
The middle of the movie is all him searching for Superman and Martian Manhunter and that whole thing. So, anyways, that's kind of would be a fun, silly sci-fi comedy action film.
Love it. All right, go for it. My first official pitch is Plastic Man.
That's fun.
Here's my Plastic Man pitch.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
Okay. It's Nacho Libre meets Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow, what a combo.
So
love it.
He is a ex-con who has recently developed superpowers. Okay? And he's meeting his niece for the first time. Okay? This is kind of an original story. This isn't based on a comic or anything.
Interesting.
But he's meeting his niece for the first time. And he wants to prove to her that he's not a criminal. He's actually a superhero. So he has to basically prove that he's a superhero.
I like this.
And kind of make it up as he's going along.
Yeah.
In the same way that kind of Nacho Libre wants to become a luchador. He wants to become a hero. And it's got that Little Miss Sunshine thing going on.
Right.
Where it's that they've got to get to the recital thing. But they're trying to, do all this great stuff for this little girl.
Right.
So that's kind of the premise. I would cast Ben Schwartz as Plastic Man. Who would be perfect.
He's campaigned for the role.
Yeah. He could totally do it. I would love it. So, 100%. That's the idea for a Plastic Man story.
Greenlight it. We need more superhero movies like that have a really cool, just silly kind of idea.
Right.
But it has a lot of heart, too, and you can connect with it. Yeah. Great. My first pitch is Justice League Dark.
Ooh.
So Justice League Dark, they've got a great animated movie. I rewatched this yesterday.
Yeah.
This is a really solid film.
It is.
It's really good. It's really well made. Very good story. Great mix of characters. I'm basically doing this exact team.
Yeah.
Because it's a great team. Except I'm not using Batman because I don't think you need Batman. So this is it's kind of two movies meshed into one. It's a medieval dark fantasy, much like Excalibur.
Okay.
And it's a sort of modern fantasy film like Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
I'm, of course, hiring Guillermo del Toro because he's the only one who can direct this film.
Of course.
He's the perfect choice.
Yes.
He's actually said multiple times he wants to make this movie.
He should.
Why he hasn't, I don't know. Why Warner Brothers hasn't just thrown all the money at him and said, make whatever you want. It baffles me to this day.
Yeah.
So this is about a holder of a magical helmet, Dr. Fate.
Of course.
Who's planning on passing it on to a talented young magician named Zatanna.
Ooh.
Much to her father, Zatara's disapproval.
Okay.
But the ancient sorceress Morgan Le Fay wants the powerful object for her son to become ruler of the mortal realm. So a team must be formed to stop her. Also, flashbacks reveal medieval Camelot and the origins of the helmet in this ancient rivalry.
Do you also include Etrigan?
Etrigan would be a major part of that as well. Yes.
Yeah.
The helmet of fate is the MacGuffin. Right? That's the big thing.
Yeah.
But yes, Etrigan would play a huge role there as well. I've got Dustin Hoffman as Dr. Fate, Kent Nelson.
Ooh, okay.
I've got Antonio Banderas as Giovanni Zatara.
Oh, okay. Good
I've got
pick.
Ana de Armas as Zatanna.
Okay.
I've got Tom Felton as John Constantine.
Good. I love that.
Casey Affleck as Deadman.
Okay.
Dougray Scott as Jason Blood, Etrigan the Demon.
Cool.
Simon Baker as Alec Holland, Swamp Thing.
Okay.
Clancy Brown as the voice of Naboo.
Of course.
Emma Thompson as Morgan Le Fay. And Will Byers himself, Noah Shapp as Mordred, her son.
Sweet.
So that's my full cast.
I love it. Those are all
big
great.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of magic. It's a lot of darkness and creepiness and magic and just sorcery and weirdness.
Yeah.
I love this. The opening scene of this animated movie is like John Constantine playing cards with a couple of demons.
Right.
You know?
Right, yeah.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just very silly and
Right.
like, it's kind of making fun of the dark arts in a way.
Sure.
You know, it's not like actually being creepy and evil.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple moments that are weird but that's kind of my whole idea for it, was that it would be that kind of vibe. So
yeah, I like that. That's an interesting part of Constantine's character, is that he's kind of over the mysticism.
Yeah.
Like he's using it all, but he's
Right.
just kind of casually using it.
Right.
The only thing I would add to a movie like that is a Clarion and the Witch Boy.
Oh.
He's one of my favorite
mystical
villains.
I thought with doing Morgan and Mordred, if you also had Clarion, it would be
it would be crowded.
He is a great character.
Your idea for the Helmet of Fate story and kind of all centering around that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
If you were doing more of like a standalone Constantine or Zatanna movie, then I think Clarion would work there. But I just had to mention it because I love Clarion. He's a fun character.
Great one. All right, what's your next one?
My next pitch is Metal Men.
Ooh.
Okay.
Metal Men is great.
Gotta do Metal Men.
Will this be an animated film?
No, this has to be live action.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
live action.
Okay.
So it's based on these two movies, That Thing You Do,
yes,
and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Okay, great.
Okay?
That's great.
There's your vibe.
Love it.
Right off the bat.
Love it.
So William Magnus, played by Jason Bateman,
Great
is the front man for this new superhero team called the Metal Men.
Right, he's like a businessman.
He's a businessman who's seeking to make money off of what's essentially a family of robots that he's made.
Right.
Okay? So, yeah, he's a millionaire who wants to serve the greater good by creating a family of superheroes. He was orphaned at a young age, so he built the family that he never had. Every member of the Metal Men team is a different material. So you've got gold, platinum, lead, mercury, tin is the youngest.
Yep.
And they're all served to make him money.
Right.
And they all develop this genuine desire to serve people.
Sure.
Without making money for their dad, who winds up to be kind of the villain.
Right.
So they have to kind of turn against him.
Yeah, he's very greedy.
He's very greedy. Yeah. Right, exactly. And they become heroes in their own right.
Right.
Patty Jenkins, I'd have to direct this.
Oh, interesting.
I think she could do a good job with this.
Yeah, absolutely she could.
Yeah.
Great pick. All right, greenlight it. Go. I'm a huge fan of those characters too.
Good.
That'd be very unique. My next pitch is Adam Strange.
Okay.
Adam Strange is essentially the Rocketeer.
Love it.
Meets like John Carter.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, definitely.
So he's a scientist with a jetpack who flies around outer space.
Yeah.
Going on adventures.
Right.
You know, very Flash Gordon type.
Sure. Space Indiana Jones. Yeah.
In a way, yes. In a way, absolutely. So this is a kind of sci-fi adventure mixed with a fish out of water romance. So Adam Strange is a scientist who's transported via new technology he invents called Zeta beams to another planet and becomes embroiled in a planetary takeover.
Yes.
So I'm having Bryce Dallas Howard direct this. I think she's done a great job on The Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
She's just wonderful. I can't wait to see her first big movie, and I think this should be it.
Great.
Because it plays to all her strengths as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Casting Ryan Gosling as Adam Strange.
That would be cool. That's good casting.
I think
you could do it.
Keira Knightley would be a great Alana.
Oh, okay.
Love interest for him.
Yeah.
Who he meets on this other planet. Keke Palmer as Hyathus. Now, Hyathus is a high-ranking political leader on the planet Ran, which is the planet he gets transported to.
Right.
But she's secretly working against the planet. She's actually a villain.
Now, are you doing the whole Ran-Thanagar war?
Well, I would build to that. That's not this movie. This movie, I want to stay pretty focused on Ran and its people.
Right.
Ran-Thanagar war is like the sequel.
Yeah,
you do.
yeah, that's a big thing.
Right, exactly. And so Hyathis is working. She's working with Graven.
Okay.
I'm casting Richard Armitage, Thorn Oakenshield, as Graven, who is one of the sons of Darkseid, who's out there conquesting the universe.
Yeah.
His next planet to take over is Ran.
Cool.
And the planet doesn't have many defenses,
Right.
so they've got to work with Adam Strange to figure out how to defeat Graven.
I love it.
So he's helping them build all this
Data
technology,
tubes and,
to help them defend themselves. And then, of course, since it's a space thing, you got to call in the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
I feel like they would play a really cool role towards the end, like the third act maybe of the film. So I did cast Josh Duhamel as Hal Jordan.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Daniel Craig as Tomar Ray. Ving Rhames as Kilowog.
Ooh.
And Dave Franco as Chip.
Oh, great.
I just threw Chip in there just because.
Perfect. We love Chip.
So, that's my Adam Strange
movie.
But it's very focused on Adam and Alana's relationship.
You can even, there's a million excuses for the Green Lantern Corps not to be there. If
That's
there
true.
is some
That's
kind
true.
of if there is some kind of a Ran-Thanagar tension going on,
good point.
Then it's like, well, the Green Lantern can't get involved because there's
good point.
Political situation.
Good point. They don't have to be there.
They don't have to be there, but I like that idea of a focused Adam Strange.
If you want to expand the cosmic side of the DCU, you could do that. So
yeah, I love it. Greenlit.
Cool.
I'm all for it.
Awesome. What's your next one?
My next pitch is for The Spirit. The Spirit.
Huge fan of The Spirit.
This is kind of a Romancing the Stone meets Dick Tracy movie.
Oh.
Okay.
So, you know what I just remembered?
What?
Spirit got a movie.
Really?
He got a movie. Back in 2008. It's right down there.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I forgot I haven't shown it to you yet. Went way under the radar. Didn't make any money.
Really?
Yeah, didn't make any money. No one talks about it. I kind of like it.
Is it good?
I kind of like it. It's fun.
Huh.
It's fun.
Okay.
You should watch it for sure.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Tell us your reboot. Your reboot.
Well, I've never. Remake. I didn't even know it existed.
Your remake of The Spirit.
So, Armie Hammer as the Spirit. We saw him. He was great as Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger. Yep. Absolutely.
Joe Johnston to direct. We got to get him to.
There's no one better.
I know. He's the guy. He did Rocketeer, obviously.
Yeah, and Captain America.
Tyrell Jackson Williams as Ebony White, who is like the sidekick to the Spirit.
Okay. I like it.
So essentially, he's like a private investigator guy in Central City. Okay. And there's this
modern day, you said, or is it back in the 30s?
Yeah, this can be like a ambiguously 50s,
right.
60s, 70s thing.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially the story is there's a gangster in Central City. No one's taking seriously. He's called Scarface. And it's revealed as the film goes along that he's actually a ventriloquist dummy controlled by the ventriloquist.
Right.
Who's a famous DC villain.
Yes, I love that.
But that's kind of the main antagonist there. And then you have a kind of femme fatale who's a red herring who kind of comes into the play and makes the mystery kind of more complicated.
Right.
But that's kind of the story. You kind of make it a very vintage feeling, whammo blammo, pulpy adventure detective movie.
Yep.
Leaning more toward pulp than noir.
Right.
Again, kind of like Dick Tracy does.
Right.
The Spirit, Scars to Remember is the name.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
You got a subtitle.
Yeah, there it is.
I love it. I'm greenlighting this.
Great.
I'm all into this.
Yeah.
This is my kind of vibe, so I totally love it.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so my next pitch is Mr. Miracle.
Okay, all right.
This is a character I'm a big fan of. He's got a great episode on Justice League Unlimited.
That's right.
Ties That Bind, and it's a really good episode. He's a member of the New Gods. They're kind of a alien
space royalty.
Royalty.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They're tied in with Darkseid and Apocalypse.
Yep.
Their planet is New Genesis. There was a trade that happened. The tyrant leader.
Peace treaty.
Yep. The leader of Apocalypse, Darkseid's son, was traded for Highfather's son, who's the leader of New Genesis. So they changed sons to broke peace between those two planets, but there's always tension between those two planets. And so what this is, it's a space opera.
Yeah, so this is the child of Highfather being raised by Darkseid.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, his name is Scott Free. It goes by Mr. Miracle.
Which is such a great name.
It's a great name.
Mr. Miracle, he's an escape artist.
He's an escape artist.
That's kind of his whole thing. That's so Scott Free as a name is
that's
genius.
Yes, he's constantly trying to escape Darkseid.
Right.
And he knows he's evil. He knows, what's going on there. So he does end up escaping, making his way to Earth, and becoming a famous magician.
Great.
So that's kind of his thing. He meets Big Barda, who's one of the female Furies, trained by Granny Goodness on Apocalypse, also to be a villain.
Yes.
Awesome. Kind of instrument of evil. And then of course we have Orion, who is is Darkseid's son.
Correct.
Raised by Highfather.
Yes.
On New Genesis. So my cast is Daniel Radcliffe as Mr. Miracle, Harry Potter himself.
That's right.
Gwendolyn Christie, Captain Phasma, as Big Barda.
Okay, that's great casting.
And then we've got Cameron Monaghan as Orion.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I think they would be great.
Yeah.
Clive Owen as Darkseid.
Okay.
Meryl Streep as Granny Goodness. This is all, of course, dream casting.
Sure.
Tim Roth as Desaad.
Okay.
Luke Hemsworth.
Oh.
The oldest Hemsworth brother. Yes. A lot of people don't know about.
Yes.
As Kalibok, who's kind of like Darkseid's surrogate son. And then, of course, you can bring in Green Lanterns again if you want to this story. But this is about these three rivals. It's about Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and Orion teaming up to bring an end to the intergalactic war between the two rival planets that threatens all life in the universe.
That's cool. I like it.
So it would kind of be a trio story. It'd be very Guardians of the Galaxy meets Lord of the Rings. It's kind of that kind of vibe.
Okay.
Big epic story.
Yeah, sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi journey they have to go on. Maybe they're finding a relic of some kind to help defeat Darkseid.
They're a great trio because they're so different.
They are.
It's kind of a nature versus nurture story between them. Yep, so that's a great idea. I love it. Love the pitch.
Awesome.
Greenlit. Okay, my next pitch is for a Nightwing movie.
Ooh, Nightwing. One of your favorite characters.
One of my favorite characters of all time. Nightwing, if you didn't know, is Robin.
There he is.
Dick Grayson, the first Robin, who becomes disenfranchised with being in the shadow of the Bat.
Right.
And kind of decides to go it alone in his own city.
Yeah, Bloodhaven.
And become Nightwing. So in the comics, he gets his name from Superman. Superman's the one who gives him the name Nightwing. Because Nightwing's like a famous Kryptonian folklore character.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
So yeah, I would definitely implement this in James Gunn's DCU to kind of have the Superman legacy story kind of tie in to this version of Robin. Right. The best version of this story is from Batman the Animated Series. There's an episode where the newest Robin, Tim Drake, is hanging out with Nightwing in their city, and he's like, "Hey, how come you're not Robin anymore?"
It's called Old Wounds.
Old Wounds, of course.
Yeah.
How come you're not Robin anymore? What happened?
Great episode.
And it's a great flashback to an old Robin.
Why he quit.
And why he quit. Because it's this great story of Bruce Wayne, who one night kind of took things too far and like traumatized a child because of what he did to his dad. And Dick Grayson's just like, I can't do this anymore. And there's a lot of great interpersonal drama that's focused on in the Young Justice show.
Oh yeah,
which is all about why Robin is different from Batman and why Batman took on Robin so that he wouldn't become Batman. Yeah, exactly. So kind of becoming Nightwing is what Batman always really wanted for Dick Grayson. Right. So that's the story. That's I cast Wolfgang Novogratz as Nightwing. He's a new up and coming actor. Okay. He's in a lot of like teen comedies. We saw him in a trailer recently for some horror movie that he's going to be in. But he looks great. He looks the part. He definitely looks like a Nightwing. Cool. It's kind of, the movies vary. I'm thinking a Spider-Man 2 situation where you throw away the mantle and it's like, what is life without superhero? First Blood, Rambo First Blood, where he's going into a new city and he's thrust back into superheroing. And then a Social Network where he has to kind of prove himself as separate from the other giants around him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I was going. It's like a melodrama, action, crime, thriller.
Okay.
That's
cool.
what I got. That's what I got.
I like it. I'll greenlight it. Sure. I mean, that's a character that I really like too.
Yeah.
He's got a great backstory.
Right.
You could go into the Flying Graysons a little bit if you wanted to. You could do all that. So.
Right.
And we're getting Batman Brave and the Bold, which is.
Yeah, it's true.
We could get
very well have a Nightwing there.
Yeah. So, great. All right. My next pitch is Blackhawks.
Ooh.
Blackhawks is one of my favorites. They're a World War II team of ace fighter pilots. So it's basically these 3 movies combined. It's Dirty Dozen.
Okay.
Meets Saving Private Ryan.
Great.
Meets Top Gun Maverick.
Awesome. Love it.
There you go.
Green light.
I mean, come on. I mean, and we're getting Steven Spielberg to do it. So
genius.
I mean, he's the best of all time.
Wasn't he going to do a Blackhawks thing at some point?
He was in talks for a long time to do something like this. David Koepp wrote the script, and nothing ever happened. So, so this is a very simple plot. Ace pilots take on special missions during World War II, coming into contact with a former ace pilot of their own, and a deadly pirate.
I love it.
So
pilots and pirates.
That's it. So Spielberg's directing it. Kind of has that Adventures of Tintin vibe, like he did.
Yeah, perfect.
Bradley Cooper as Blackhawk, the American, daredevil leader of the team.
Yeah.
Then you have Jude Law as Stanislaus, who's a stern kind of Polish pilot on the team.
Yeah.
Then you have Woody Harrelson playing Chuck, who's the wild Texan comms specialist.
Perfect.
Charles Dance playing Hendrickson, who's the Dutch sharpshooter of the group.
Very cool.
Timothy Chalamet as Andre, the suave Frenchman and demo expert.
Okay.
Then we have Alexander Skarsgård, who you cast as Kazar.
Yes, yeah.
I'm casting him as Olaf, who's the big, dumb Swede strongman.
Okay. Great.
Then we have Luddy Lynn, who played the Black Ranger in Power Rangers, as Chop Chop.
Okay.
He's the martial artist.
Great.
Kind of sidekick character, but I'm making him more of a prominent role.
Right.
Then Alice Eve as Lady Blackhawk. And then Abby Cornish playing Black Star, who is a former member of the team that left and kind of turned to the dark side.
Right.
And Adam Richson as Killer Shark, who is the pirate in question here.
Absolutely.
Deadly, ruthless kind of character. So
that's genius. I love it.
That's my pitch for Blackhawks.
That's a movie. Gotta see it.
Yeah.
Gotta see it.
Yeah.
Greenlight.
Yeah, it would be great.
Greenlight.
So, all right, what do you got next?
It's funny you mentioned Killer Shark.
Yeah, Killer Shark. Not
Killer
King
Shark.
They're
King
confused
Shark.
sometimes.
They're
totally different characters.
I had written a pitch long ago. I forgot about it until you just mentioned it. I had coupled together 3 DC villains with Killer in their name, and 3 with Red in their name.
Killer Red.
So
Red
I'm
Killer.
like, we're gonna pit these 2 against each other. So they're rival biker gangs, like the Warriors, and it's the Killer Commandos, Killer Frost, Killer Shark, and Killer Croc.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Versus the Red Riders. Okay. Red Riders. You've got Red Hood.
Yep.
You've got Red X.
Oh.
And you've got Red Sun, who is Superboy.
Okay.
Like kind of
Superboy,
emo Superboy.
Right.
So you've got those
He's
3.
on Red Krypton.
He's on Red Cat.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a pitch I came up with a while ago.
What's your final pitch?
Number 1.
The big one.
This is the one. The one I've got to see.
If you could see one, this would be it.
The question.
The question. It's got to be the question. I don't have any answers, but what's your question?
Here's the questions. This is a They Live meets Darkman meets Memento.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, I like this. This is a great mix.
It's those 3.
Yeah.
All right. We've got Ethan Hawke as the question.
Perfect.
And we've got as Renee Montoya, Selena Gomez.
Oh, I like that pick.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good casting. Do you not have Huntress in this?
I don't have Huntress in
really?
this.
I'm surprised.
This is just a question.
Okay.
Only focused on him
She's
and
in
his
the
character. Because
the sequel is the Justice League episode with him and
it's
Green
double
Arrow.
date. Yeah, it's double date.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Absolutely.
Question authority. Yeah.
Yes.
So here's the idea of the character. Because I'm doing something a little bit different than his comic origins. Because in the comics he's Doc, I think is Vic Sage. Vic Sage is his character. And he has this like putty that he puts on his face that makes it look like he has no face.
Right.
and he's got like this like smoke stuff that comes out, and he can change his clothes really quick. And it's just kind of like, the question is just like an alter ego that he uses.
Right.
And he's really Vic Sage. My idea is, I'm just going to read it to you because I have it written down.
Go for it.
A man wakes up in a filthy alley. Chemical burns on his clothes and no means of identification. No memory of how he got there. Not even his face is visible. Okay?
Ooh.
So he wakes up. He has no memories. He has no face. He has no fingerprints.
That's crazy.
He wanders into this diner. Okay?
Right.
Everyone runs away from him because they're afraid. They're like, this guy's crazy. He's like deformed and insane.
Yeah.
Everyone runs away except for a drunken detective lady sitting at the end of the bar, Renee Montoya,
I like it.
who's, she's seen everything in the city. So the two of them kind of haphazardly work together to figure out what happened to this guy.
Right.
She's uncovering this big crime plot that's going on. And we're intercutting between that, which is kind of the question's origin, and a modern day, fully established question. Who has been hired by somebody to basically figure out someone's secret identity.
Oh,
so he's kind of like going through this whole, because he's a conspiratorial character. He's paranoid. Is like his whole thing.
It should be Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
He's trying to figure out Green Arrow's secret identity.
Yeah. Something along
Create a
those
rivalry,
lines.
you know?
Right. Especially if you're doing a double date
next,
thing in the sequel. Yeah. But that's the idea. Is he's this character who ultimately comes through the decision of, I am the question. I'll never figure out who I am.
Right.
But I'm going to figure out who everyone else is. I'll figure out who I'm not.
I like it.
So that's his character. That's the idea.
Great idea.
I have a long written thing in the larger scale universe of the DC
sure.
that he would start like a secret identity, secret society, where he and his group are keeping everyone's secret identity a secret.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones going around making sure no one sees Clark Kent.
Right.
No one figures out Bruce is Batman.
Yeah.
He knows all their identities.
Sure.
And he's keeping them all secret. Kind of working in the shadows to make sure that their personal lives are intact.
Right. Great. Green light. Go.
Great. Love it.
Make it. Start shooting tomorrow.
Right. Sweet.
All right. My last one.
This is it.
My big one. The movie that we need the most is Hawkman. Hawkman is such a good character. Aldous Hodge did a great job playing him in Black Adam.
Sure.
But to me, they need to make a standalone Hawkman film. And here's what it is. It's a treasure hunting adventure story. Much in the vein of my favorite film, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's very much that. It's very much The Mummy.
Okay.
And a lot of Mummy vibes in it because it's all Egyptian. And then, it has kind of Stargate vibe to it as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Is kind of what I'm looking for.
Ancient Egyptian alien technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all that combo. So this is about an archaeologist named Carter Hall.
Yep.
Who explores a pyramid in Egypt and discovers he is the reincarnation of an ancient alien warrior. So I'm combining
the Qatar
Hall with the Thanagarian and the reincarnation. I'm doing all of it.
Cool. Good.
I'm combining it.
It can work well together.
Big story.
Yeah.
I think it can work perfectly.
Awesome.
So this ancient alien warrior built an advanced society using nth metal. An unbreakable and versatile substance from his homeworld of Thanagar.
Right.
But he also awakens an ancient enemy who seeks revenge for an incident involving Carter and his long-lost love, Shaira, over 4,000 years ago.
Is Shaira in this?
Shayra's in this.
Great.
Shayra's definitely in this. You got to have her, I think. She's so vital to his growth as a character.
Right.
And the way they interact is so interesting, especially what they did in the Justice League show with them.
Yeah, there's a really interesting Hawkman story there.
Yeah, Shadow of the Hawk.
Yeah.
A great episode. So I got Jake Kasdan directing this.
Okay.
He did the most recent Jumanji movies.
Yep.
I think he's got a great sense of action and comedy because it needs to have levity in it.
Right.
It needs to be kind of like Indie or Mummy, where there's like moments of levity throughout it. They're on this adventure together.
Yeah.
They're kind of having fun. It's kind of a odd couple situation. They don't really like each other at first.
Right.
They kind of grow to appreciate one another.
Yeah.
They're very different, but they like each other. So that's the kind of vibe of the movie. Ryan Guzman is a young actor who I like. I think would be a good Carter Hall.
Okay.
Isa Gonzalez, I like a lot from Ambulance.
Cool.
I think she would make a great Hawk girl.
Should be great.
And then Edgar Ramirez, I like as Shadow Thief, who's our villain.
Shadow Thief, yeah.
Who would be a really interesting villain. Very unique things you can do with him visually that I think would be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
I've also got, because this would kind of create some news.
Yeah.
So I thought bringing Lois and Jimmy into this could be fun.
That would be
for a little bit, and they're kind of like hunting them down
too. Right.
So I did end up casting. I wanted it to fit with my Josh Hartnett Superman casting.
Right. Yeah.
So I did a little bit of an older Lois, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
I think would be a good Lois.
Yeah.
And Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things. I think it'd be a fun Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I've got them. I've also got Paul Giamatti as Perry White.
Awesome.
And so that would be kind of my whole idea for the Hawkman movie. A big globe-trotting adventure mixed with some fun sci-fi elements, fantasy elements, flashbacks to ancient Egypt. You could do all that stuff there. So
very cool.
That's it.
Love
That's
it.
my pitch for DC and Marvel.
I know,
Kevin Feige and James Gunn, hopefully you're watching because this is the blueprint, guys.
Yes.
Move forward with our pitches. There you go. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hopefully you had fun listening to our movie ideas. Make sure you leave a comment below with what superhero that doesn't have a movie that needs one or that needs a reboot of a new movie or something like that. We'd love to hear your comments on that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Those links are in the description. Check out our website. We've got blog posts there, new ones every week. Thank you, Carson, for joining me.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
It was really fun.
This is great. This is totally right up our alley.
Yeah, it's different, too. We've never done a episode like this where we pitch our own ideas for movies. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more of it in the future, let us know. Thanks again. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. And we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.